Really shouldn't be that difficult to get a camera to work, but there's my cuckoo clock. Yep, as you can guess, it's 9 o'clock. All's well. Yeah. Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Robin Hood, molesting boys again. Well, you didn't know that about Robin Hood? Well, oh yeah. No, actually there's not a lot of evidence for Robin Hood. It's a nice thought, but I think that's all it is, you know. It's also like King Arthur. There's not a lot of evidence for King Arthur. Again, you know, it's a nice thought, but I think that's about it. Yeah, I'd like to think there was a King Arthur. But I doubt it somehow. I mean, you're going so far back in time. I mean, you just... There's no real... written records. I mean, a lot of the people at that period, they couldn't write anyway. So, I mean, the records we have, that period, are limited. So, yeah. If only we knew what went on thousands of years ago. We'd know how they built the pyramids and how they moved all the stones to Stonehenge. Whatever method they had to build the pyramids, it was easy. That's all you can say, it was easy. Otherwise they wouldn't have done it. So, I tend to think it was done with something like ultrasound. Because I saw a hieroglyph. Well, I can't remember where I saw it. I would love to see it again. But there was a Egyptian fellow stood side on, as they always are for some reason, and he had a rod in his hand, and he was touching the end of a block, and the end of the block had lifted. Now, I tend to think that was ultrasound. The rod could have been made of something particular, something special, and of a certain length, and if you, maybe, I don't know, maybe if you hit it like a tuning fork, you just whack it, you can touch something and it will lift. You know what I mean? But that was the hieroglyph I saw, because you wouldn't use blocks of stone that big. unless you could move them easily. I mean, yeah. I find all this interesting, fascinating. I guess at some stage, somebody will find out or work it out. I hope they do. I'd love to. Love to find out before I pass on, And I'm not intending to pass on anytime soon. Not if I can help it. Mind you, they do say death is the greatest kick of all. That's why they save it till the last. And they give you a nice certificate at the end of it. Yeah. Your passing out certificate. Yeah. And you know what? If ever there's a God, I'm going to go up to him. I'm going to take my index finger and I'm going to poke him in the chest and I'm going to say, what was the point of flies? Because flies serve no fucking purpose. Oh, I'm swearing, sorry. Flies serve no purpose whatsoever, apart from annoying humans. I mean, come on. What a way to spend your life, isn't it? Eating shit. I mean, really. And I'm also going to complain to him about peaches. Because the stone is too big inside a peach. You know what I mean? The stone is far too big inside a peach. Oh, sure, they look lovely on the outside. Oh, that's nice. You take a bite of it and you get a mouthful of stone. I mean, it's like roses. Roses look fantastic, Beautiful, pretty. So you go and pick one and you get a handful of thorns. I tend to think roses are a very deceitful type of flower. They're almost like a lie, They're begging you to come and pick them, and when you do, you get a handful of thorns. Yeah. I mean, nettles sting, but they don't entice you to pick them. You learn very early on to leave them alone, Although I have to say, nettles are delicious. Take off the first 2 or 3 inches, the top, when they're new, and you can boil them like spinach, folks. They're wonderful. You can have, nettle omelets and stuff, which are delicious. Yeah. And they're full of iron and full of vitamins. It's an amazing thing, the nettle. You can make a very good cord out of the stem. It's very fibrous. You can crush it up, weave it into a stem, which is very good. early early man used to make, well, he would fasten arrowheads to arrow shafts with nettle fibre. You take a piece of flint, make the arrowhead, and then you fit it to the shaft with an improvised glue, which you make out of pine resin mixed with charcoal. Pine resin on its own is too brittle, so you mix it with with charcoal, and that's how you glue the arrowhead onto the shaft. And then you bind it round with nettle fibres, and then you go over the top again with more pine resin and charcoal mixture, and that's how you keep an arrowhead on a shaft. Well, for primitive man. So there are great plant nettles. Nettle beer is nice. I mean, I really like nettle beer. I'm not a beer person, but nettle beer, I have to say, is very good. It's one of the few beers I actually like. I have to say, when I went for coffee this morning to use the free internet, a fellow went up to the bar for a beer. I don't know what sort it was, but the bar person said, £3.55, please. And I thought, are you kidding? For one beer, $3.55? I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, I don't want shares in the company, I just want a beer, you know. God, you know, if my father was here now, I'd be amazed. Well, he'd be amazed for several reasons. He'd be amazed at the price of beer, and he'd also be amazed if he were alive now, because he's been dead for 40 years. So, that must be really interesting, isn't it? Be dead for 40 years and wake up again. See the changes that have taken place, you know. Different prime minister, same old queen. Albeit very shriveled up now. You see, Queen Victoria looked very old, but she still looked like a queen. Our queen no longer looks like a queen, you know what I mean? She just looks like an old biddy, you know? Like she should be in some kind of old retirement home wearing soiled underwear. She just looks, I don't know, I'm not going to say old and seedy, but, you know, you're an old biddy. Are you alright, dear? Are you alright, Chuck? Are you alright? We're having custard later. You know, that type of thing. Have you taken your medication? And Prince Philip, he should have been in a home long ago. I don't think he's ever been wired up right. But I don't think any of them are wired up right. They're inbred. As you can probably guess from that, folks, I have no time for royalty. And of course we all know that Prince Charles is not legally married. Because he had a civil ceremony. And members of the royal family are not allowed to marry in civil ceremonies. It's the law. Why that law was made, I don't know. I just know that it is. So